being there was not to represent the United States government. My job was to be an American citizen there helping. It did not make any difference at all. The person's religion, the color of their skin, nothing mattered except the job that I was assigned to do there. That is the same job that a congressman has. The oath is to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. The United States is composed of Christians, Hindus, Muslims, Jains, Sikhs, Jews, all races, all religions. They're all equal American citizens. They'll all get my support.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Edwards.
Thank you. This question was initially crafted for the member of the Foreign Relations Committee, who unfortunately is not able to be with us tonight for whatever reason. I will start at this end. Given the current crises, specifically in the Middle East, also given a worldwide alert to possible extremist activities, what do you see, if elected, the relationship between the American government and the sovereign nation of Pakistan in the future? Thomas?
Okay, thank you for the question. I've been to Pakistan. In fact, I speak Urdu as well as Hindi. It's a very complex situation, and it's gotten much more complex. I was there a number of years ago. Radical Islam is something that we really must pay attention to. A country with nuclear weapons, we must treat in a special way. But these people are our allies. They must remain our allies. The consequences of not dealing effectively with their needs mean that they will not help us deal with our needs.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Torgerson. Torgerson.
Thank you. The relations between the United States and Pakistan, I think in recent history has dramatically improved. I think it's a good idea to continue to pursue that. It is a sovereign nation. They can pretty much decide whatever it is they wish to do. I do think it's important to recognize that we have different governments. I guess I'm kind of leaning towards, with respect to America in general, given some of the hardships we're going through now, as being kind of more protective of American interests. But certainly, I support friendly relationships with the Pakistani government.
Thank you. Bob?
You know, when you talk about the issue of sovereign nations and other countries and our relationships with them, first of all, and specifically in regards to Pakistan, we should remember that Pakistan has been our ally when they were a military dictatorship under the general, I believe his name is Sharif. But more importantly, and I speak as somebody who can speak very personally on the issue of terrorism and the causes of terrorism. It's so easy to denigrate the other as being dirty, rotten terrorists and dirty, rotten Muslim terrorists, whatever term you want to use. We need to look at the real central issue that drives the issue of terrorism. One of the reasons that these countries and these groups hate us, and by the way, we did support the Taliban. We supported the Taliban in the 1980s. We gave them military weapons. We gave them because we were using them. The simple fact of the matter is that these groups hate us, not because they hate our freedom, that's a great buzzword, but because our government, with your money and my money, our tax money, gives money to regimes like, for instance, the apartheid-like regime of Israel, like the brutal regime of Egypt, like regime after regime after regime. We give them military weaponry. Saudi Arabia just got another, I think it was like $60 million in planes and weaponry from us. Our government gives money to human rights abusers. That's the root cause of terrorism, and that's our direct link to the issues of terrorism. I can guarantee you all that as a member of Congress, I will not give one thin penny of our money to any regime which brutalizes its own people or other people. Get to the root causes of terrorism instead of dancing around pretending that they hate us because of our freedoms. They don't. They hate us because our money is being used to kill other innocent human beings on another planet, in other countries.
Yeah.
I will fight to end that. Thank you.
A second part to that, appreciate the response, and we will, on this particular question, start with Ms. Torkelson. There has been discussion this evening with respect to the threat by international Islam against the welfare and the safety and the Constitution of the United States. About 7 years ago, there was great discussion about a program called rendition. This question was also going to be asked of a former member of the Judiciary Committee of the United States House of Representatives, who unfortunately is not with us. Ms. Torkelson, we will start with you. Sure. If elected to the Congress of the United States, what will be your official position on the program entitled rendition?
You know, I'm not familiar with the details of that. Could you please let me know
Rendition
that?
Rendition was a program initiated by the Bush administration and highlighted by then Secretary.
Actually, it was the Clinton administration started it.
Yes, in which individuals who were thought to be enemies of the state were herded like cattle around the world to be interrogated, sometimes by methods contrary to the laws, stated laws of the United States of America. Torture, specifically torture. And so that was the program known as rendition. And so my position is, would you, as a member of the House of Representatives in the United States Congress, be prepared to repeal that specific law and specific program?
Certainly, I do not support torture. If that is what this program does, of course, I would oppose that. I would also like to mention that I do not agree with Mr. Kavlin as to the causes of terrorism. I think if we look around the world, in many countries that have nothing to do with the United States, people under Sharia law are killing each other, and it has nothing to do with anything with the United States or what the United States has done or not. They have troubles in Pakistan, they have troubles in Afghanistan, they have troubles in Iran, they have troubles in Iraq, they have troubles in Saudi Arabia, they have troubles in Lebanon, they have troubles in, you know, all over the world. So it's not terror. That's like blaming the wife of a wife abuser for her doing something wrong, and therefore the husband gets to beat her up. It is not the fault of the United States because people engage in terrorist acts. Further, there is not an apartheid state in Israel. I think it needs to be pointed out that the Palestinians recently elected as their governing authority the terrorist organization Hamas. Things are not going to go well for a people who elect for their governing authority a terrorist organization. And the state of Israel is an independent sovereign nation. The Palestinians border Egypt. And they border Jordan. If it's so awful, nobody is holding them hostage in Israel. All they have to do is walk about 2 miles to another country, and they can. So Israel cannot be blamed. Israel has a right to defend itself, and it is an ally of the United States, and the United States should strongly support our friend and Israel and ally Israel. Thank you.
Let me just take an editorial note. We would hope that Israel was not a part of the rendition program. But Mr. Calvin.
Actually, Israel is not part of the rendition program. It's usually countries like Egypt, Jordan, and other countries which actually do torture their political prisoners at the direction of the U.S. State Department, it must be noted. And like I say, the rendition program started, which is, by the way, itself is a violation of the Constitution. Start from that place. But it was instituted under the Clinton administration, was then authorized to be used fully under the Bush administration, and is now being used and continued under the Obama administration right now. And by the way, just for the record, Lynn, some people think that Israel isn't a racist apartheid state. Well, Bishop Desmond Tutu, who fought apartheid in South Africa, thinks otherwise. And I'd like to think that his opinion is much more credible than a white, comfortable, privileged, middle-class white person in North Minneapolis. So let's just get that out of the way. I hold that Israel is a racist state. But anyway, the issue of rendition, I will fight it tooth and nail, because our government has been actually setting up secret camps in places like Bagram Air Force Base, where they're torturing people right now. They've been doing it in Iraq. They've continued to send people to these other countries to do even worse torture. So as a member of Congress, I will not just fight against rendition, I will expose those people in Congress who say words like they support and defend the Constitution while they actually destroy it themselves. When I say we defend the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, what I'm saying is we need to defend it from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And quite frankly, many members of our own Congress are enemies of the Constitution right now. And we need to start taking this very, very deadly seriously. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Strunk?
I would just follow up with what Michael is saying. Our Congress is consciously and unconsciously undertaking acts and actions which undermine our democracy and this country's future. If elected to Congress, I would absolutely do everything that I could to stop rendition. As Michael pointed out, it is unconstitutional. We will take an oath, and an oath is sacred, to uphold and defend the Constitution.
Okay, thank you. Right before we get to the closing statements from each one of the candidates, I'd like to ask you a question. It'd take you less than 10 seconds to answer. It's kind of something that we're just going to throw in there. If you were not running for Congress, or since you are, we'll just say since you are, and, well, let me rephrase that. If you were not running for Congress, which one of the other candidates would you vote for on November 2nd? And we'll start with you, Mr. Mike Kaplan.
Oh, what a horrible question to put to a guy. No, all kidding aside, if we were talking about the evil of two lessers, or I'm sorry, did I say the lesser of two evils?
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, Tom is a wonderful gentleman who I would proudly, if I was not running, I would be voting for Tom, 100%.
Great. Thank you. Ms. Torgerson, please.
You know, I'm a competitor. I'm running. I'm voting for Lynn Torgerson for Congress.
Thank you. Mr. Tom Strunk, please.
Well, I guess Michael hit the ping pong ball to me. I'll hit it right back. We agree on many, many issues here.
By the way, that is not an endorsement of either campaign.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we're going to go into the last session here. We're going to give you 3 minutes each to do some closing statements before we close out the show here and announce the meet and greet tonight. That'll be at J.D. Hoyt's at 8:30, directly after the broadcast here. But we're going to start with Mr. Tom Strunk, and we're going to let you start with your closing statements.
If a bill costs the citizens more than it benefits the citizens, that bill is detrimental to the citizens. We pass law after law without any cost-benefit analysis. Cost-benefit analysis under Presidents Reagan and Clinton have been required of the agencies. It's not required of the legislature. Our legislature can do whatever it gets by with. This is not good enough for the future of our country. I have a son who's 28 years old. I really want to see Social Security be there for him when it's time for him to retire. It won't happen